Okay, thank you very much everyone for joining us today to attend the EducationUSA webinar, EducationUSA Academy Connects. I'm Chizuru Sasada, EducationUSA advisor in Tokyo, so I'll be the MC for today. どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。Now I'd like to introduce EducationUSA quickly. EducationUSA is a U.S. Department of State of Network of advising centers in more than 117 countries worldwide. We promote U.S. higher education to international students by offering accurate, comprehensive, and current information and advice about studying at U.S. colleges and universities. In Japan, we have 6 EducationUSA centers: Sapporo, Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka, Fukuoka, and Okinawa, run by the U.S. Embassy, Consulate, and Fulbright Japan. If you have any questions, please get in touch with the EducationUSA centers nearby. This program is hosted by EducationUSA Tokyo. This webinar is also open to countries other than Japan, so those who are not from Japan, please contact EducationUSA centers in your countries. But anyway, thank you so much for your participation today. EducationUSA Academy Connects pre-college academic enrichment programs for international high school students around the world, considering studying in the United States. This year, the programs are hosted by the 7 American universities. This is a particular website, and you can see the list here. So please refer to this web page for more details. And this is the chart of the programs by 7 universities. Each program is unique, and today we asked 2 universities, St. John's University in New York and the University of Wisconsin-Madison, to speak about an overview of EducationUSA Academy Connects and the programs they offer. And please note that the time listed here are not for Japan, for UTC, which is Universal Time Coordinated. Now, I'd like to mention a little bit about this required English proficiency, CEFAR. CEFAR stands for Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, and it was created as a guideline for determining the learning level. Please note that EducationUSA Academy Connects use this CEFAR as English requirements. And this is just for your information, but this is the CEFAR comparison table with major English exams. Sorry, but it is in Japanese only. It is made by the Japanese Ministry of Education. From this comparison table, you can see the minimum English requirements when applied to major English exams such as TOEFL or IELTS. Okay, now enough about my talking, so please join me in welcoming 2 wonderful speakers today, Miss Christina from St. John's University and Miss Olha from University of Wisconsin-Madison. So now I would like to hand it over to you, Christina and Olha. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to you all. It's evening here. I'm really excited to get to tell you a little bit about our EducationUSA Academy Connects programs. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the general overview of the EducationUSA Academy Connects programs. Then we'll give you each give you a little bit of information about our individual school programs. So to start with, what is EducationUSA Academy Connects? These are virtual programs that are somewhere between 4 and 5 weeks long. There are 7 universities and colleges in 2022 that are offering these virtual programs. There's a range in prices. You can see here something from $300 to $500, give or take. And the number of hours each week that students study varies by school, but somewhere around 4 to 5 hours. This means that if you are already studying your regular studies, you can do this in addition to that work. It's an immersive English experience, and so although it does not focus on teaching you English, all of the instruction is done in English, so it's a really good opportunity to practice your English and see what it might be like to study in the United States. The focus of most of the Academy Connects programs are really on the US higher education system and understanding what it means to apply and be accepted to US institutions. Every single one of the Academy Connects programs includes virtual campus visits. So not only do you get to learn about the school that you are enrolled at, but you're also going to get to learn about other kinds of US institutions. Most of the programs will talk to you about how to complete a college application. What are the different parts of the application? What's important for you to know to have a successful application, and topics like that. And most of these programs also try to incorporate some kind of cultural activities, usually in the form of getting to meet other international students virtually, although some also do other extracurricular activities like game nights and things of that nature. Why would you want to do a program like this? Well, Education USA's mission is to encourage and support international students who want to study in the United States. And because so many students study in the United States, we understand that we really need to help you know what's the best thing for you to do when you're coming here with so many choices. And so you get the opportunity to meet other international students who are similarly interested in studying in the United States, and also to hear from professors and administrators at US colleges and universities so you can understand a little bit more about what makes studying here desirable. So who is the program for? The program is for international high school students. And usually when we have these programs in person, they're limited to students from 15 to 17 years old, but the virtual programs at most of the schools participating can accept students who are 18 years old. So if you are 18 or you will be 18 when the programs are running, then you would be eligible to participate. As you saw, you need an intermediate to advanced English level. So you don't need to be a completely fluent speaker of English, but you do need to be able to attend your sessions in English and produce written and oral work in English. So if you're watching this presentation and you feel pretty comfortable listening to us speak, then chances are you would be pretty well suited for this program. Of course, it's for students that are interested in US foreign study. So if you are not really interested in studying in the United States, then this probably isn't the right program for you, because it's not just a general English program and it's not just a general culture program. It really is focused on university study in the United States. It's also a self-funded program. So that means that you as the student are responsible for paying the cost of these programs. But as you saw from the first slide, the cost is relatively low for a 4 or 5 week program, or sometimes 6. $300 to $500 is hopefully a reasonable cost for the amount of information that you will get. And so the question of where, it's virtual in 2022. So although we are all located across the United States, we have schools in a variety of different places in the Northeast, in the South, in the Midwest. All of them are virtual. And so for this year, you can really participate in any program that strikes your fancy. We have 7 different states. The institutions are both public and private. Some are small and some are larger. So there really is a nice mix, and there are various opportunities for you. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague here so she can tell you about the program at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If we're not able to hear you, I think you need to unmute.
How about now? Works? You
Perfect.
hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So thank you, Christina. I'm Olha Skyba. I'm the Associate Director of Academics and Development at University of Wisconsin-Madison. Those of you who do not know where Wisconsin is, a lot of people know where Chicago is, right? And so we are kind of right above it. And our state is looks kind of like a glove, kind of like this when you see on the map, like a mitten. The state is actually known for University of Wisconsin, of course, but also known for really good dairy, a lot of good cheese and ice cream and all of those things. Its nickname is a kind of dairy state. University of Wisconsin has a kind of big system, and there are colleges, University of Wisconsin colleges in different places, kind of throughout the states. But University of Wisconsin-Madison is kind of located in Madison, Wisconsin, which is the capital of our city. It's very beautiful. At the back, I don't know if you see my background, that just kind of shows it's located in this little isthmus surrounded by several lakes. And so kind of the whole campus is located between those two lakes and the downtown as well. So it's very, very beautiful. And again, with this program being online, I guess it's different because it's an online format, but again, the future opportunities will involve, and EducationUSA does have in the foreseeing future, maybe in 2023, the programs we're planning that have also potential to be in person. For this year, we offer 2 sessions online. One of them is the spring session, which will be starting in March. And then the other one is in June, July. So the first session in March is 4 weeks, and the June-July session is, I believe, 5 weeks. And so they have different topics in mind. The session in March, again, it's a synchronous session. It has a commitment of 1.5 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays to kind of attend those virtual sessions through Zoom. And the first session in March is kind of theme is Get College Ready. And so in that session, you will have a chance of going through kind of like several major workshops, and we will focus on kind of college admissions, navigating kind of university process of admission. There will be one session dedicated to kind of introducing you to research skills and what does it take, because regardless of what major you choose when you go to college, research skills and understanding how to kind of to do research is present pretty much everywhere. So we'll kind of talk about that. There will be a session dedicated to writing your college essay and kind of how to build your college essay for your college application and write personal statements and other written pieces that kind of connect to your college application. And then one more session will be offered, and that kind of focuses on analytical reasoning. And analytical reasoning, it's a kind of introduction to reasoning. So we'll kind of examine because again, regardless of what major you apply it's kind of one of the core things that that the skill that you have to have in order to be successful in American college. And so, so this is kind of the structure for the March session. And then in June, we're focusing on STEM. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And so this will give you kind of this theme. And we will kind of think about STEM careers, STEM trends. We will talk about various pathways. You will have a chance to kind of think about within the careers in STEM, what pathway kind of aligns with you and your interests, and consider those. So it's a little bit of inventorying of your interests academically. We also will kind of have a lot of different guest speakers that come to talk from various fields. And so you'll have a chance to talk to researchers from UW-Madison who currently work and kind of ask them questions about their pathways and career pathways and kind of things that they work on. And this session, it's longer, so it will lead to a final presentation of a sort. So you will have to work in with other peers or individually based on your choice and think about kind of common scientific misconceptions or myths. And it will be focusing more on kind of a mini presentation of kind of studying it and then presenting and practicing your speaking skills and convincing and kind of critical thinking in presenting the evidence that you have to misspell some of the misconceptions or myths associated. So you will have lots of choices within kind of the classes, and we will have kind of a good mix of things that align with the core content, but also there will be place for the students to pick and choose based on their interests, thing that interests them and go for it. Okay, so this is just a little bit more information as to how to apply and when to apply. So the red section of the slide shows you how to register for EducationUSA at University of Wisconsin-Madison. So the EducationUSA Academy Connects, that link is how you find about us. Precollege.wisc.edu is not here, but this is where you will find kind of because we have multiple programs within the umbrella, so you can navigate it out of there. So when you find pre-college and UW-Madison, out of that, you will be able to navigate and find the EducationUSA in case you forget this. Again, thinking about most of you, I believe for the time difference with Japan, you are 15 hours ahead of us. So for the synchronous sessions that we have, those start at 5 p.m. our time. So that means, if I'm not mistaken, it would be 8 a.m. your time. And those sessions are an hour and a half. And so Tuesdays and Thursdays are those synchronous sessions that kind of within the dates that you see. For spring, it's March 4th through March 25. And then for summer, it's June 28th, July 28th. We're also potentially working on another session for the summer that will be following this session. We cannot kind of fully confirm the details, but for those who are interested in the later July date, venturing a little bit into August, we will have more information on the website within the next 2 weeks. So there's potentially another session in the summer that we could share later more details about. And again, you have here my information, my contact information, and I also have my email here that you can kind of reach out and ask me questions if you have any. With that, I think I'll pass it to Christina to talk about her programs.
Thank you. So I won't talk for too long, and then we'll get to whatever questions that you might have. So again, my name is Christina Quartararo, and I work in our Office of International Education at St. John's University in New York City. And so the background of this slide is our campus in New York City. And so I like to share this slide because people picture New York City as being Manhattan only, the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, but we're actually, our main campus is in Queens, which is one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. And so we have a really nice campus, which is green and big and has a lot of space and dormitories. And also we're very close to all of the excitement of New York City. So I've given you here just some details about the university, but we're a mid to large size university. We have about 17,000 students, and they're very, very diverse. So they come from almost all of the different United States, and also more than 100 countries. So we really do have a wide range of people who are on our campus all the time, and we have more than 100 undergraduate programs. So there really are lots of different opportunities for people at St. John's. Our Academy Connects program is really focused on helping you as a person who's interested in studying in the United States find the right fit for you. So what does that mean? The United States has more than 4,000 colleges and universities. In New York City, we have more than 100 colleges and universities. So there are so many options. And what we want to do in our program is help you to think about what it is that you really want from your experience studying abroad. And so you see here a list of the different sessions that you'll attend. And they include things like figuring out how you find the right school for you, right? What should you be thinking about? Size, location, majors, etc. Of course, we'll talk to you about the application itself, what the common application looks like, what individual applications look like, how you can choose your major. And so we have lots and lots of options. I think there's probably more than 100 at Wisconsin. There are more than 100 at St. John's. And so it really is something that you need to think about. We're also going to talk to you about things like the tests that you might need to take and also ways that you can stand out. So what will make your application something that an admissions officer notices out of all of the applications that they receive? Of course, we'll talk to you about writing an essay and a personal statement. This is not an English program, but in our program, you do get individual writing assistance with creating a personal statement that you could submit with an application. And we also do a little work with a basic kind of college essay format, just to give you a little bit of experience with what that might be like. Of course, I mentioned the virtual campus visits. We do those. And when we do them, we include a large institution and then a community college so that you really get to understand that there are lots of different types of institutions. Of course, you'll get to meet international students. You'll get to meet our faculty, our deans. And so what we're really trying to do is give you an experience that allows you to get to know not only St. John's and the process of applying to a university in the United States, but really to get to know yourself a little bit better, to understand where is the right place for you. We would love the right place to be St. John's, but it might not be for you. And so that's what we're trying to help you determine. And so our program is going to take place in June, from June to July, about 6 weeks. And our sessions are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So our sessions will be in the evening, your local time. So we haven't determined the exact time yet, but we have staff in admissions and teachers that work in Rome. We have a campus in Rome. And so those folks are able to help us offer programs for students in your time zone. So they'll be in the evening, your time. So not late at night, not too early in the morning, but somewhere around dinner time. Our cost of our program is $300, and we do have scholarships available. So if you apply to our program, you can choose to apply for a scholarship. The maximum scholarship that we award is 50%. So if you are given a scholarship, you would pay $150 for the 6-week program. So for the June program, our application deadline is May 1st. That's because we want to make sure we know exactly how many students there are in all the different places in the world, so we can organize enough classes that are convenient to you. And of course, when you finish, you'll get a certificate of completion. And that is the case for all of the Academy Connects programs. So whichever Connects program you choose, you will get a certificate of completion. You can see there we have a website that you can visit. It has more information. The application is linked there, and that is my email address. So you can also just feel free to send me an email and ask any questions that you might have if you visit the website and there's something that's not clear. And I just want to say that this picture is from a group of students we had about a year ago in this program, and you can see all of their smiling faces. That class happened to be all girls. I don't know why that happened, but they really had a good time, and we think that the virtual format really does work very well for the program. So the last thing I'll show you here is just the general information. If you want to learn about all of the programs, you can see that they're listed here on the slide, and that you can visit the general website at edusaacademy.org and learn more about the academies in general, and also the other schools that will be offering programs. And so what we'd like to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to take a look at some of the questions that you've submitted so that we can hopefully answer those for you. So the very first question that was asked here, it says, after participating in the program, if the situation gets better, I assume we're talking about the COVID situation, is there any chance or opportunity for students to visit campus in person? So the answer is yes. There are other kinds of programs offered, at least at St. John's. And also we may offer the EducationUSA Academy in person with a different focus than the virtual. So I think the answer is yes. And I don't know if you want to add anything, Olha, about that, or.
Yeah, so for this upcoming summer, it's through the summer, we are focusing on online only. And then hopefully when the biggest obstacle for us for this summer and for in-person programming is COVID. So with things improving, things coming together in place, definitely, if it still applies for you, then definitely there will be more options for summer 2023, but then potentially other opportunities too.
Great. And so there's a question here about, are there any device requirements to attend the Academy Connects courses? And so you need to have access to a computer, a laptop with a camera and a microphone, and you need to have reliable internet access, because all of us use, video, something like Zoom to communicate, and you need to be able to participate. Many of the schools might record a session, but they don't. The idea is not that you're going to just watch those sessions later by yourself. The idea is that you attend live sessions and participate in group work or in full class work. So in terms of device requirements, you need to have a good computer with a camera and microphone and reliable high-speed internet access. So, so I'm just going to answer a related question that came in that says, do participating universities provide video recordings instead of real-time attendance? And the answer is no. I don't believe that most schools will record the session for you to only attend later. You can correct me if I'm wrong there for Wisconsin. But we'll provide you with a recording. I'm sorry, St. John's will provide you with a recording after the session, but attendance in live sessions is required for St. John's.
Agreed. Yeah, I think you would want to find a program that it will work with your schedule. So if it's not one of our universities, you can find other universities might have different time slots that will work for you better. Just kind of search what works for you. If it's a situation where you, out of 5 weeks, you need to miss 1 or 2 classes, then definitely the teachers will accommodate you and work with you to make sure you make up or see something, so you please, we encourage you to talk to us. If it's just like a matter of a few exceptions because you take exam on a certain day or something like that. So definitely there is a policy of excused absence where you can still get access, but you personally would want interaction. You want to meet those people, you want to make connections, you want in person to talk to those admission people who come to talk to you, or guest speakers who come to you, because like big value of why you want to be in this program is to actually engage, to form connections, to explore opportunities. You never know where it will lead to, and so like something fully recorded, I would not recommend as a good quality if it's something that, so yeah, so this is the long answer to that. But I guess, again, just depending on what you need, if it's an exception, please feel free to talk to us, because we will accommodate a few things here and there so that you can successfully complete the program.
Great. So there's a question about needing proof of English level. So we can only speak for our program specifically, although I've definitely been in presentations with other schools, and so I know that this is the same for many schools. I don't believe any of the schools require any formal proof, so you're not required to send us a TOEFL score or anything like this. For St. John's, we don't require any formal proof. However, some schools have, as part of their application, a short essay or something like this where they can assess your English level, but you don't need to submit any official test scores.
What we do is we don't request any special, there's no cutoff or anything. What we do is when you apply, part of the application will lead you to, you will have to kind of do a self-assessment, and we kind of guide you through answering a few questions. So there's like a little bit of a rubric, and you will say, you know, how comfortable are you doing this or that, speaking, writing? And so you do that self-assessment, but it's more to help you to do the right match. But it's, again, it's just kind of a part of application for you to know what you're getting yourself into. But it's more of a helpful checklist more than something that you have to submit as an official document.
So there's a question here about class time and how you can figure out when the class times are. I'm going to put in the chat a link to a website that makes it really easy to figure out what time it is anywhere else in the world on any given date. So what you'll do there is you put in the 2 cities, so whatever city you're in and whatever city the school that you want to go to is in, and then you can do it as UTC, or on the websites, on our websites, we don't advertise in UTC. We usually advertise in our local time, and you can just put in the date that the program starts and the time, and it will convert for you. Okay, so yes, you'll need to consider, you know, UTC is just, we were asked to provide that in UTC because that's, you know, the sort of standard marker, but you should be able to convert, if you look at our websites, from our local times to your local time. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
And again, when for specific program times, I would just have to say, just not for converting the time, but the whole kind of figuring out when things run. In addition to some of the presentations you may hear, just kind of website, usually when you go to the program website, it will list the correct information. So if something gets updated, so go back to the website of that institution to kind of figure out that, and always ask questions. Like if you did the convert and everything and you're still not fully 100% sure, you can email the organizers just to confirm and clarify the expectations of that commitment. And another good piece of it is how much commitment is outside of the class, because some of these programs will also, like you will have to attend the synchronous session, but then you will have to read an article maybe, or prepare something, or have another commitment outside of the class to get ready for the next program. So clarifying that is always a good idea too. Usually people will not give you like more than like maybe the same amount, that maybe another hour outside of it, but it should not, like usually it's not more than that. And I just wanted to make sure you kind of also understand that there is that extra commitment outside that's expected, or some of the things. And a lot of the program, they pack their programs, so there are a lot of options. So even though maybe it's not covered during the synchronous session, they will also give you different resources and other recorded videos and things that you can explore on your own. And that's also additional time commitment that you can venture in and spend tons of time in, but it will be your choice.
So there's a question here about fun activities. You want to tell them about some of the fun activities that are part of your program? I cannot kind of think of something kind of specifically, but definitely we will do the branch out activities where the discussions will be happening kind of in the smaller groups, and also facilitated with some of the things that are kind of
more informal in nature as well, and will align more with understanding you and a little bit of testing and understanding kind of your preferences, something that aligns more with icebreakers and things like that. So I would say definitely interaction is fun. I don't know, in my books, interaction with other students in class and kind of also hands-on things and experiences that you can do together and form those bonds. So nothing specific kind of comes to mind at this point, but definitely I think not just having a camera on and texting your questions, like that's kind of expected to a certain degree, but I think branching out into groups and having specific things to do that lead you to kind of explore each other's interests and things like that definitely should be expected.
Yeah, so for us, you know, within some of the sessions, there are things like trivia games, Kahoot quizzes. We do have what we call a networking opportunity where you're meeting with other students. So those are the kinds of sort of fun activities that you're doing when you're in those programs. So there are a couple of questions here that I'm going to leave to the end because they're not so much about the Connects programs, they're more about universities in general. There's another time zone question. I'm just going to recommend that you do use the website that I provided. So I don't know the date offhand when we switch from standard to daylight time. I don't know that right now. But I suggest that what you do is use the conversion, use the online conversion, put in the date, put in the time, and that will always give you the right answer. Because also, please know, like, New York is not in the same time zone as Wisconsin. So, you know, those times are all different depending on where we are in the country. So I would just please, you know, check that. You can usually check that online really easily. It looks to me like the rest of the questions are a little more general. And so I will tell you that when we have our in-person programs, the question says, do students need a student visa when the program is in person? Do parents need to come with them? What do we need to know about sending, you know, high school kids? So the answer is no, you don't need a student visa. You would travel with a tourist visa. And parents should not accompany students. We do not have accommodations for parents on our campus. The students are expected to participate in the program without parents. The question of, is there anything to be careful about sending young kids? I mean, all of the things that you might worry about when you send them out in your own hometown. When you send them to us, we have very strict policies about chaperones. And so we always have someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that is responsible for making sure that they are where they're supposed to be. And so I would say that if you send us high school students, we're going to take very good care of them. You know, they're not allowed to just roam freely or, you know, travel anywhere they want without our supervision. So
Agreed.
There's yes.
Yeah, like the B1, B2 visa is right, but what I need to add to that is that usually it comes also with a specific documentations of you're enrolled in this program, kind of something that helps people travel, that kind of defines the nature of it's almost like an invitation letter based on the acceptance in this program, so that it helps navigate things kind of during the travel times and when they land here and things like that. So that's definitely helpful. I wanted to add about the kind of the sending a kid somewhere and what to know about. I agree about the strictness. Like basically, I know that our campus, in order to serve pre-college students, which are minors on campus, thousands of rules apply to make sure we meet safety requirements, and the programs that we run on campus, they have to have a license. That means a very elaborate review process of all of the procedures to make things safe, thinking about every single thing, providing 24/7 medical support, providing 24/7 supervision of staff with very specific requirements of how students will be even navigating and walking between buildings and things like that with someone always kind of being with them in the vicinity, waving at each other, you know, and so things like that. But yeah, usually if this is the program that has a, you know, kind of, you can Google and see that if it's something listed on campus, a lot of times it means that it already went through rigorous requirements and multiple entities on campus, like health services, risk management, like a lot of these places that ensure safety, the Office of Youth Protection, for example, we have something like that. They all work together to make sure all of the mechanisms are in place. And then also, a lot of the communication that is helpful is being sent after you're being admitted to the program. So helpful handbooks, like tips for what needs to be done, things that you need to have with you, all of those expectations, the seminars before you come here for you to answer questions before you travel. A lot of those things are in place so that you can kind of gradually address millions of questions that you might have as a parent before you send the kid, before they go to the airport. Like, I think you can kind of rely on that as well, of that process of pre-program preparation.
So there's a question here about how many students usually enroll in your classes. Do you want to talk about that?
For the EducationUSA Connect,
Yeah.
I think there will be probably up to 30 students, something like that, per session, and there will be an instructor, and then, or potentially 2 co-instructors, multiple guest speakers, and then there will be educational assistants, people in class that help, 1 or 2 people additionally who help facilitate the branch out sessions. So it's kind of, we will make sure that there are several adults in the course with you, in addition to the main teacher, to kind of make sure we can branch out and do some activities kind of more tailoring towards individual students' needs.
So we have about, you know, it really depends. We've run Connects a few times now, the Academy Connects program, and we've had classes that are anywhere between 10 and 20 students, and sometimes at 3 different times of the day. So we might be offering a morning for a certain time zone, and then an afternoon and an evening, and there might be 15 students in each of those classes. We don't want too many more than about 15 students in a class, just because it becomes a little bit unwieldy, but there are sometimes up to 20 students in a class. And so you know, it depends on which session we're talking about, but in individual classes, there's usually something like 15 students in the group. And so there's a question here about, again, not about education. Well, there is another question. Sasara-san, you wanted to answer this question, I think it says, but I'm going to answer it, and then you can chime in perhaps. It says, to participate in the program, if you participate in the program, will the chance of getting into the particular university increase? And the answer, I have to say that there is no guarantee that if you take the program at St. John's and then apply to St. John's, you will get into St. John's. It doesn't work that way. What I will say is that we're going to teach you very clearly what we look for in applications to be able to accept students. And so from that perspective, you have an advantage, because you know you're going to meet the people who review the applications for St. John's University, and they're going to tell you what they're looking for. So from that perspective, you're going to have an advantage, but there is no guarantee that if you apply to our if you attend our Connects program, that you will be admitted to St. John's University. And I would assume that's the same for all of the Academy Connects programs.
Yeah, I know, I completely agree with what you say. It's kind of hard to make the dots connect unless it's a very specific, like some of the programs are pipeline programs, which this one is not it, that kind of have that connection. But for also, when you think about your college application and your portfolio of educational experiences and what you present in the essay, kind of all of these things that you did before college that show more advanced work do matter, and they accumulate, and you can present them and as a very nice package together of all those things that point to, look, I did all of this advanced work that already shows me that I can be successful in this environment. And a lot of the pre-college experiences that are kind of, they allow you to practice certain skills, certain mindset, certain ideas. And so they, through that, you will have also essence for writing your college essay too, when you give specific examples and things like that. So it never hurts, and you have to really think about, when you build, for example, your resume, because you want different, like, let's say you, even after you get into college and you want certain experience, certain kind of access to have internship with certain department and stuff like that. All of that will matter, what you kind of have as your previous experiences. And when you are first, second year, maybe there's not that much of that experience. So every single thing will matter in a way, like everything that you did before applying to college, that shows that you are kind of positioned to more of advanced work will help. So definitely it will make an impact if you think about that collection and other tools that you need to collect in different boxes when you prepare for college.
So there's a question here that's not related to Academy Connects, but really related more to what is it like right now in the United States in higher education? So the question asks, is COVID vaccination required at your campuses? And currently, are your classes mostly online or in person? So at St. John's University, all students, faculty, and staff are required to be vaccinated for COVID and to have received a booster. So that means if 3 shots. And we are back to mostly normal operation. So the number of in-person classes that are happening right now is about standard for us. There are always online classes, but I don't think the number of online classes now is much larger than it was prior to the pandemic. New York City still, and New York State still has an indoor mask mandate for colleges. So we wear masks indoors, but not outdoors. That might be changing very soon. But the experience right now is getting closer and closer to a pre-pandemic experience. So you're able to, have events in person and things like that.
It's the same for us, everything else applies. But I do have to say something. When you are a high school student and you apply for, this role might be different. So even though I'm vaccinated, all my colleagues are vaccinated, all of the undergraduate, graduate students are on campus staff, everybody's kind of required to show proof of vaccination or do kind of testing periodically to show that you still have a negative test and stuff like that. Because those students are considered minor. I know that in foreseeable future, we don't necessarily have a rule that would apply to high school students to show proof of vaccination, at least not yet. This policy may change in upcoming year, but right now we are understanding that, something else potentially will come up as a requirement for pre-college students, for students who are not in college yet. So I'm making that distinction because, again, for the youth protection reasons, how we deal with youth is not necessarily, and the people pre-college is not necessarily the same policy that applies to adults. And so those will be specific to kind of, when you consider coming, you'll have to inquire in each individual place, what is their policy, not just in general for the university, but for pre-college youth in particular, and look for that information specifically.
So those are all the questions that were submitted to us in the Q&A. There is a little bit of time left, and I know our colleagues in Tokyo would like to make some final remarks, so I think we'll turn it back to them for that.
Yes, thank you very much, Christina, Olha, for your excellent presentations. I think we learned so much about EducationUSA Academy Connects, and also about the current situation in the United States, in New York and Wisconsin. And thank you so much for taking care of all the important questions, because it really illustrates the questions or the, the concerns that students and parents and teachers may have. So thank you so much. And I'd like to ask you any final words to the students who would like to study in the US in the future. Christina?
Sure. What I'd like to say is that there are so many options, and you should really spend the time to think about what it is that you are interested in, and then think about where is the kind of place that's going to be best for you to be successful. New York City is a really exciting place, but it's not the place for everyone. And so there really are so many opportunities here that I want everyone to think very carefully about what the best fit for them is.
Olga, can you say?
Yeah, I completely agree. Your experience will be completely different depending on kind of what you choose. And I think it's also important to, in addition to when people consider majors, right? And it's important to figure things out. But it's interesting because in our school, also there is a kind of a good culture of it's okay not to know what you want yet. And to be honest, you can apply and say, undecided, I don't know what my major can be. And actually, it will not be seen as a disadvantage. And so, which is very, maybe some other places will not have that policy, but it's totally okay to have that and to spend a little bit of time kind of exploring what you want to do and start with undecided and be admitted to the University, of Wisconsin, which is something that maybe not a lot of people realize because maybe they feel pressure, like I need to know I want to be an engineer, which is not true. So please consider that as well, but totally understanding the culture and what you get, because you will be here in those forming years that will impact your kind of your future interests, your personality, your connections, what you're going to do with your life in general. And so carefully considering your lifestyle, carefully considering what kind of things are beneficial for you. Do you feel this place is diverse enough to be accepting? Do you feel like the experience you get outside of class through all of these activities, involvement in student organizations, like will give you the experience that you would want? All these little things, they do matter. The size matter, how much, like the smallness and bigness of the groups on a daily basis do matter. So sometimes a smaller college will be a much better experience, but some people really don't like it. They really want kind of be like in a bigger pool. So all of these things matter, and that's why EducationUSA is a great program to think through it, to talk to other people about it. So we definitely kind of encourage you to kind of explore the world and different places that offer it, and start early, obviously, and start thinking about it early on. Especially if you have several years before you have to apply for college, because all of those experiences, you can kind of position yourself to be better prepared early on. So definitely, I encourage you to kind of consider this program and other opportunities. And in general, reaching out with questions is a good idea as well. You will get some good advice and direction. And if some programs cannot do something for you, they maybe will point to their peers who can help them. So in this regard, it's very, it's a very kind of open and friendly environment to consider those things.
Thank you very much for those, Christina and Olga, for your great presentation and for your advice. So please stay healthy and, safe there. And I hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure.